Good evening. Welcome to Dirt Track Central. I'm Matt Kovacic.
And I'm Justin Hopp. And we're Dirt Track Central. So we thank you for watching and joining in if you're live with us. We shoot this show every Thursday night. We start around 7:30 Central Time if everything's going right. But if you can't catch us live, we'll put it up on our YouTube channel and you can watch us there. So we always want to thank our sponsors that help us put this show together. And Engine Quest, our title sponsor. Also, Extreme Motorsports at a Great Bend. BMS Modifieds out of Belleville. Heartland Racing VP Fuels. And BSB Manufacturing. Plus the Contour line of cameras. So, I also invite you to send messages on our Facebook or our email address, which is at dirttrackcentral@gmail.com, or we have a hotline number you can call or even send a text to at 785-201-9188. So,
Also, while you're watching live on the show, you can go to dirttrackcentral.com. Right under where you're watching the video of us, you can comment there and join in the show that way. So, if you got any questions, comments, whatever, get them to us however you feel fit. And specifically tonight, we have Dave Brin coming on the show just a little later on. He's the director of division development now. So helping with writing rules and looking at different classes and that kind of thing. I guess we'll have him explain exactly what he's doing. But
kind of a new position for him. So.
If you've got questions about rules, he's an excellent guy to ask, and obviously he's got some vision as to where IMCA is headed and that kind of thing. So if you just got general questions about IMCA and the philosophy of it or any of that kind of thing, you can certainly ask those too, and like I said, get those to us either on our Facebook page or there on Dirt Track Central, and we will ask him here later on. So first of all, though, we're going to take a look at the IMCA Northern Sport Mod feature from the Super Nationals. So should be a good one. Jesse Sobing gets, well, I won't give any of it away. We'll just watch it. How's that? Never been to the Super Nationals. Weren't watching last week. You see they start the cars 3 wide, 10 deep. Can get to be somewhat disastrous, but it can also, when you've got that many cars there, it's good to have that many opportunities, I guess, to make the show. So
It did kind of crunch them up, but kept on rolling so far. They did start them 3 wide for even the hobby stocks and went green to checkered there. So.
The 81D on the bottom there, Davis, he's won before. I can't remember if that was last year. He's got a Super Nationals title under his belt. Leader right now, 16-year-old kid. I'm trying to think of his name. Had a good, clean, smooth race. Got himself out front early. So many cars and so much action right now. It's hard to figure out what to focus on here.
Yeah.
You see the 34 there, Max Harder, the Beatrice guy, qualified for the show, and on behind him there, Cade Calhoun in the 7. First time out in that car was taking it to Boone, and Brian's old modified. Turned it to a sport mod. Built a Mopar engine, which Brian is known for, but I don't think they had the Mopar in the sport mod before.
No.
They've been running Chevy stuff, so just a new package, new combination for me.
Yeah, it worked really good at Boone.
It did. Yeah. Here's where Davis decides spin to win.
Yeah. Took out Jesse Sobbing there. Couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah. If you haven't watched our interview, we did have an interview there up Jesse Stodman before the feature event. Got to catch up with him a little bit on his season and that kind of thing. So check that out. And just keep plowing on through. You saw me working the bottom back there. He was on a mission. Black flag flying for some reason. Yeah. Sparks off the wall.
Looks like Sauber made up to 8th. So the back after changing the tire now.
Yeah. Racer Hewlin giving her up. I think he was involved in a mishap there that tore some stuff up. Trying to continue on. About enough of that, I guess. Hold her in there. Jesse's first chance to send Davis to Walmart, but for some reason doesn't cash in on the opportunity. Second and third place, they just got a race, a battle going there for lap after lap after lap.
It is.
Pretty even. And this was a 30-lap feature, right, too. They had
Plenty of time to get up through there. Well, they kind of switched their
Yeah, the general
positions.
decided he cleared him, he better get to the top. I think if you could do the top without making any mistakes, it'd be a little faster. But
Yeah. That's where most of them are running.
Rose, I think, from the
Yep.
outside there, and he see his laps weren't as consistent as the old general on the bottom there, but running where everybody else wasn't. Here comes Jesse.
Yep. He was running right through the middle where nobody else is running.
Yeah.
Everybody was running the bottom and the top, and he said, "Well, I'm gonna have to go for the middle."
Got a little tight there. White flag, huh?
Right. Left him enough room there. No, he could have slid jobbed her all the way up there. He left enough room. So they'll make the pass. Checkers.
Yeah.
Second. There, Sauber. Man, heck of room.
Yeah. That was a race to watch for sure.
We always want to thank Engine Quest for being our title sponsor and playing the video. And I'll see if I can't bring up an ad for them, maybe. Here we go.
EQ cylinder heads.
Get the volume right.
From IMCA modifieds to stock cars to sport. Yep. A little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm doing a little too much. Wasn't quite ready. There
Odd
we go.
divisions. The checkered flag flies often for EQ team racers. As a general sponsor of IMCA Racing and the title sponsor of the EQ Cylinder Heads Wild West Modified Tour, EQ cylinder heads are used throughout IMCA divisions. EQ's 23-degree performance cylinder head is the most powerful cast iron head out of the box and approved for use in the EQ Cylinder Heads Wild West Modified Tour. EQ's early 350 head is the approved replacement head for IMCA Northern and Southern Sport Mods, as well as the IMCA Hobby Stock division. In 2012, EQ's cast iron Magnum head is the approved stock replacement for IMCA Northern and Southern Sport Mods, along with the Hobby Stock division. When you need to get to the front of the race, choose EQ cylinder heads, the power choice of racers everywhere. Visit EngineQuest.com or call us by phone 800-426-8771.
So thanks again to Engine Quest for being our title sponsor.
Yeah, Eric and the guys do a great job, and there was a good chance to catch up with them at Super Nationals as well, so be sure and check that video out on our YouTube channel as well, and give them a call if you need some help sharpening up your piece. So as far as news goes,
Do our results first. Jim.
oh yeah, still getting ahead of myself. Over at Salina Speedway, in the mini stocks, and this one was a typically at Salina it's a mini stock class, front wheel, rear wheel, whatever you want it to be, pickup car, whatever. This was the Barry Brittendall Memorial Race, and he raced front wheel drive stuff, and I think that was kind of the thought process behind having the front wheel drive only mini stock class. So it was IMCA type cars, still not sanctioned, but Eric Unruh came home the feature winner. Wayne Juneman, we hadn't seen him for quite some time. He showed back up for the that race and ended up in second spot. Dallas Dunn and Tracy Montague. Kevin Hackett ended up fifth. So congratulations to those guys. Tyler Fry, another one that been kind of scarce here lately. He picks up the feature win. Mark Franklin in second. Josh Rice in third. Brendan Damon in fourth. And Tim Shiveria was driving the old sport mod out there, got fifth. So stock cars, we'll watch that a little later, and you can kind of make the guesstimation, but 63C, a last lap pass for the win. Scott Granzella second, Josh McCarroll third, and Justin Murdoch fourth, Bob Arnold fifth, and I think Mike Myers came across the line in third place, but he had an old magnesium bell housing that was legal 12 years ago when the car was built, but not so much anymore. And I think mainly for safety reasons, that magnesium's not a good deal when you get it fired up. So anyway, the Mod Light division, the B55, Brian Davidson picks up the feature win. Bud Lee, Brandon Gray, Nick Watts, and Corbin Pickerel round out your top five. And over in the modified division, Joe Cleveland picking up another feature win. And Danny Morrison Jr., Mike Petersilly, Brian Nail, and Kenny Cross round out the top five. And Joe put on a show again. Man, he is fun to watch at Salina, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to him. And that pretty well seals the deal on the old championship, other than not making it to the racetrack. I think it's about the only thing that could take him out. I think all he needs is starting points to make that. And Danny Morrison there in second is your second place points guy. We might take a look at the points here a little later on, but you want to do Thunderhill, or you want me to?
I can do right there. As we go on to Thunderhill in the Sport Compacts, the 88S of Scott Spellmeyer picked up the win over Wade Heller, Danny Candley, Alan Guthrie, and Katie Dykeman. In the hobby stocks, it was Dominic Theifel, Mike Tchowski is up there, and he finished second, followed up by Jacob Krell, Kelly Peel, and the 64 Larry Hunter. And oops, I'm forgetting to move on along too.
Truskowski was winning that, and had engine problems on the last lap, and got passed by one car before the checkers got out. So bad luck again.
So going on over to the Sport Mods, and Eddie Schwab Jr. picks up the win over Adam Patch. Brendan Damon finished third, and Brian Rigsby fourth, and Rick Dreschler is finished up fifth. And in the stock cars, look like we got a new winner there again. So another new one. I think so. He must have picked up a little extra cash for picking it up, and he's always been right up there. Brian Labonte picks up the win over the 75 Marvin Griffin Jr. Jim Powell was in third. Greg Dieters and Bob Arnold in fifth. You go on to the modifieds. The 77K of Kurt Johnston picks up a win over Jeff Herbers, Alan Holderman, and Matt Stumbeyer, and Richard Spiggs. What are your top five? And so, you might beat me to that. I was kind of working on that deal too.
Okay.
So,
all right. RPM Speedway. In the Sport Compact division, Zach Olmstead picks up your feature win, followed by Art Herzog, Shyla Hughes, Alan Rice, and Vincent Jasper. And Monty Honus, he, I think, broke another motor, but ended up still your track champion. And Shyla Hughes was a close second, so congratulations to those guys for.
Yeah, that was making me weird how it played out, 'cause I think he got in a caution early, so if he couldn't have been able to make it back out there, and Shyla could have stayed up front, she could have got it, and then he was able to come back out, and then just limp.
And really, she kind of just ran out of laps, because it seemed like those cars were just dropping like flies, and I didn't know for sure how far the split was, but
I think it was 9 points.
If enough cars would have fallen out. If enough cars would have finished and him not have been able to finish, there was that possibility that she could still pull it off. And, first year in the car, I think I don't know, she's a little tiny thing. I don't know how old she is, but 16, 17, something like that.
Good year.
Heck of a run, so congratulations. In the hobby stock, G.W. Fuller seals the deal in the hobby stock division. As far as the feature, Daniel Irwin in second, Aaron Gray in third, T.C. McCain in fourth, and Austin Taman in fifth. And 21 of Brian Stitch kept his nose clean to make sure that he was able to bring home the track championship. So brings home his first RPM Speedway track championship. Of course, he's picked up several of those track championships over at Thunderhill, and decided to do some traveling and see some country this year and try out some different racetracks. And was able to pick up the track championship
and the state title.
The state title, yeah.
So
I don't know of anybody who put on more miles than he did. So. In the Sport Mods, Dustin Daniels, I was giving him a hard time when he was down there getting his picture taken. And he just showed up the last race before Fall Nationals to make sure he could win. Hadn't raced over there all year, I don't think. But he's been getting that old, I don't even know what kind of car that thing is. It's an old modified of his brother's that he's did the conversion and stuff himself, and kind of struggled with a little bit towards the beginning of the year, but he's got her down pat now for sure. Corey McGann comes home second. Jake Cronin third. Struckoff and Daniel Gottschalk round out the top 5. And the stock car division, Shaylin Holloway picks up a feature win. That was a good race to watch, and big accomplishment for Shaylin, I think, especially with the competition they got out there. Of course, Nick Tubbs picking up the points championship, and the majority of the feature wins out there. He ends up in 4th. Josh Hudson comes home 2nd. Jason Rogers 3rd. As I said, Nick Tubbs in 4th, and Adam Balthazar in 5th. And boy, all of those guys just had excellent runs. That's a good race to. We'll play a piece of it here later on, or I guess that's the line we're going to look at. But
Yeah.
that one's up on the website. You can sure take a look at it. And,
Yep. All
good
the feature,
competitive battle.
Yep, all the feature races from RPM are up there, so
Yep.
you want to check them out. They're there for you.
And the modifieds, David Murray Jr. picks up another one. I don't know how many that is for him out there, but I'd say he got lucky this time.
Yeah.
Caution came out and gave him another opportunity, but Brian Calhoun was in the lead and just super
Yep.
smooth through the corners. And Dave was able to pull away from him when he got past him, but he was fast in such different spots than Brian that I just don't think there was ever a way
He could have got him
for him
past,
to.
yeah.
And the track was great. It was fine. Just being fast in enough different spots didn't allow Dave to get in the corner or get off the corner the way he wanted and still be close enough to Brian to make that pass. So David Solberg, heck of a run for him, 3rd place. Dylan Sherfick in 4th, and Troy Plummer in 5th. So it probably a numbers game almost like at Boone, but 4 of your top 5 being BMS chassis. That's and I didn't even look at the sport mods. I guess this time it wasn't quite so good for him in the sport mods. They only had one up there, but BMSs at RPM are getting like like Harris's were when I started going to Boone. It was like the only option. So, of course, it was more obvious back then. They were giving away bodies or something to put their name on the side, and everybody who
Yeah, it
had
does make
anything
them-
that was ever made by Harris, they had their name big on the side.
Yeah, you always knew when the Harris cars were there, when
Yeah.
especially Boone time.
my first year up there, I thought, man, it's like half these cars Harris's. Of course, I didn't
Didn't know.
know anything about it being 3
thought-
miles up the road or whatever. And
You're thinking Harris was giving the cars
Yeah.
away too to everybody because they were just a huge
They
Harris
were
on each one.
everywhere.
So,
Yeah.
gosh, all these guys are getting free rides.
yeah,
Most of the time they were just getting free doors and sides.
aluminum,
Yeah,
yeah.
free aluminum. So
I think BMS did the same deal this year, and really, I mean, it paid off well for them between
saw
that
something
and having
nice.
some good runs. But I mean, they had some good looking cars out there. They had some good runs, and with Brandon qualifying for the front row and finishing second, talked to Brandon just a little bit. And if you're calling to find something quick, you're not going to do it. They've sold everything that was laying around and got the order list going for the winter. So they're going to be booked up, that's for sure. So
yep, it's good for them. So.
definitely. Let's see, what's the
Next
the
is
big
kind
news
of
for
our
today?
news section. Where I figured for our news section we'd try to talk about all the upcoming specials. There's going to be a lot of big events. There are some good payouts and a lot of good racing around the area. So
Definitely is some really good stuff. What at 2,000 to win each night at? Well, I guess I'll just let you go in order if you're gonna pull them
well,
up there.
yeah, I was gonna bring them up. I guess I should have probably tried to put these in order as when they are going to be, but I guess it's in their flyer here. But Salina Speedway, there's is going to be 2 weeks, right? They
Yep, 2 weeks. This coming weekend is the last weekend for. Well, no, I guess that is the last weekend for points, but the last weekend for track points everywhere in the area is this next weekend. We've got a race left at Salina, one left at Thunderhill, and one left at Dodge. And then the following weekend is actually the last week for IMCA points, and so we'll see that at Goodland and at Salina, both having their specials. And I don't know if we've got anything really from Goodland. Did you
I
find
don't have a whole
flyer?
lot other than
Okay.
just the date and
Yeah. So
you know their start times and stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot on their
yeah.
deal here. So yeah, pit passes are $25. Grandstands open at 2. So modifieds, hobby stocks, the Northern Sport mods, and Econos too. So that's
Yeah.
what's racing there at the Sherman County Speedway for the Flatlanders Fall Festival on September 28th and 29th. So it'll be
Yeah.
the same weekend as Salinas. So
Right.
depends on which end of the state you're at, I guess, is which way you're gonna go or which one.
Yeah. Some
Yeah,
of
drum
it's just
us, yeah,
preference.
which one you
I know
like,
we got
so.
a Colorado guy or two heading this way to
So, yeah.
try it out, and
Yeah.
you know, a lot of that comes down to the guy feels like I haven't been out there. I'll go try that, or you know, I think Jason Breeze is pre-registered for Salina, and he's I think he ended up second in points out at Goodland, and that was kind of a last race deal that got him in second. Otherwise, he led that for quite some time. So I think he's gonna go try something different. But
Yep.
pulling up the flyer here for Salina
Yep.
Speedway. Of course, that same weekend, the 27th through the 29th. You can come out and hot lap on the 27th. Open practice from 6 to 9, and that's always just a good time to come out and shake down the cars. And I don't see here where sometimes they're a reduced cost pit pass on that day, but I don't recall and don't see it here for sure. So, oh yeah, Thursday $10 pit passes. So it is fairly inexpensive to get out there and turn some laps, see what you think of the track, and come to Salina. You know, bring the family and go to the zoo or something on Friday, and plenty of things to do around town. And of course, the Speedway can help you out with letting you know who supported the track and who to go support when you're in town. And then each night now pay out complete shows $2,000 a night for the IMCA modifieds, $150 to start. So that's a nice purse.
Yep. Possible 4,000.
And
good
two
weekends. So
two chances.
two chances.
You know, you can come out and break one night and not be screwed out of getting in the show, or you know, have a good run the first night and whatever. So 1,000 to win sport mods, 1,000 to win stock cars each night too. Those are great payouts. And, of course, the payouts for all of these are based on 20 cars. Modifieds and sport mods haven't had a problem getting 20 cars for the most part all year long. Stock cars, I've heard some names and stuff pre-registered. Sounds like there's 7 or 8 already, plus the I think we've been pretty consistent about 10 cars. So you know, it's pretty good likelihood that we can get the 20 cars together. I did ask about a guaranteed payout, and the guaranteed payout would be the hobby stock payout of $500 to win. So
Yep.
still not a bad
No.
purse, even if you come up short on the 20 cars. But just good encouragement for a stock car guy to grab a buddy and make sure they get there. So and $500 to win hobby stocks each night. That's a nice purse as well.
Yep.
Are they running mini stocks?
Yeah, on just
each
on
night?
no, just not on each night. Just
I think they are.
oh, are they?
It's included in
Okay.
that bracket there.
Oh, maybe so.
And then it's got late models Friday
Friday
and mod light Saturday.
Okay, so maybe that's some, yeah.
So 300 to win per night for mini stocks, which you can run IMCA Sport Compacts legal. A rear wheel drive mini truck like they run, Concordia, and I don't know if they still run some out west in Nebraska or not. But those trucks are legal. And then the old mini stocks like Hutch, Wichita. Of course, the guys that have been running around here all year. But
Yep, so real good payout for them guys.
yeah.
Don't normally.
1,200 to win late models, and that's kind of the same rules as all year, which is kind of a run what you brung deal. It just depends on what you got in as far as what you got away. But other than that, I think pretty much anything goes. So if you got an old late model around, you can come out and race for $1,200 on Friday, $2.25 to start.
So, yeah, good money to start.
500 to win mod lights on Saturday. So be nice to see some of the guys come down for that. Of course, last 3 years we've had a nice mod light show with national names showing up, and with Minneapolis closing, and I don't know what all went down with 81 Speedway and making schedules fit and things. That just I think there was some conflicts with some other specials as well, where trying to make a national event like that just didn't end up feasible this year. So at least got a decent payout, and I think we'll draw some cars from around the area. But be nice to see some of those national guys show up too, and we'll see if that comes or not. But,
I also want to mention the race at Beatrice Speedway for the Oktoberfest. This race they have there every year too, and that will be October 5th and 6th mainly. They'll have a practice on Thursday night, October 4th too. So a lot of guys like to finish their year off up there, so always good time up there too. So.
yeah,
And
it's the only one I can think of on that date too, isn't it?
Sure.
Which is good for them and maybe good for us if we decide to make that trip. I don't know. Haven't thought much about it yet. Thunder Hill, you going to talk about that one next? That one's the last one of the year until we can. It doesn't matter though. I've got fall nationals up here.
Yep,
of course,
here too, so.
5,000 to win modifieds, 3,000 to win stock cars, 2,000 to win sport mods, 1,000 to win hobby stocks, and 300 to win sport compacts. Sport compacts do run on Thursday night, and those are IMCA sanctioned sport compacts out there. All classes are IMCA sanctioned, so you do need a license and a legal car to compete, and they do a nice job of making sure that everybody's got that.
Yep.
So,
and I do think if you
we're all
don't have
playing.
an IMCA license yet, it will be good for the next year too. It's
Okay.
at the end of the season. A lot of times they'll allow that.
That was something that I was going to ask Dave on
Okay. I'm pretty sure
the
we
deal.
can ask.
I know that's been the case in the past, and I was curious. Somebody asked me if there's any such thing as a partial priced limited, like a temporary license, a 1 or 2 race license type deal. I've never heard of that. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but we'll ask him and maybe he'll know. And if not, I'll
We can ask
remember
him
to call
again about-
Virginia tomorrow.
Yeah, I've remembered some of the other ones as specials. It was
If you didn't have one, it was good for the next year. So
Yeah.
I can double check on that too. But yeah, and when on Thursday when the Sport Compacts race, it's also for open practice for all the other classes too. So yeah, haven't been down there yet, or you want to fine tune your stuff in and just have a good time. Probably be a good time afterwards on Thursday night too. So
I would think. They always make sure of that.
yeah, that's one thing about the Fall Nationals. They make it more than just a race. They make it a good time. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Thunder Hill. That would be the last weekend in October. The third weekend in October is that's the NASCAR weekend in Kansas City, I think, which is that's like an outlaw modified race up at Lakeside Speedway, and so Thunder Hill didn't want to use that weekend against those guys. Pretty close proximity there, so they went for the last weekend in October, which hopefully the weather holds out for them and we get something nice. But if the weather's decent, that'll be another great show, because it's another 2,000 to win modifieds each night. Trying to come up with the flyer. I guess you've got it up
I
there.
got it here. It's kind of small to read, but
Yeah.
looks like 800 for the. I mean, it's 500 stock cars.
I think it's 600 to win
600?
stock
Stock
cars,
600,
750
sport
mods.
mods, 400 hobby stocks, and 150 sport compacts. Yeah, I'm sure you guys can't quite, especially read it on this screen here too, but they've got that flyer on their website, and they will have an open practice on their Thursday too, and then the race is on Friday and Saturday. So, yep. So
That's always a fun one.
yeah, sure.
And probably be your last kabang around the Midwest here. So if you can make it down for that, that'll be a good one. If it's not snowing by then, hopefully it's not. So then Vegas in November. That's that's the very next week, isn't it? First week in November is Vegas. So I think it's the following week there from Thunder on the Hill. So leave early and hit it on the way, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we know for specials. And if you've got specials, we do have a place on our Facebook page to put those. And if you send me a flyer, just email it, dirttrackcentral@gmail.com. I will get that posted in the specials file, and then you can just scroll on through there to see what the specials in the area are to figure out where you want to go. So that's the big news of the night.
Yeah. Well, I think we're ready for our photo sections. We also want to thank VP Race Fuels too for their support of the show. And you need something a little bit more they can help you without that, and maybe even get your engine to run a little cooler. They've got quite a few different blends, and if not, just run your regular stuff. They're selling her there at the track. You can get her at Salinas Speedway, at Thunder Hill, even out west at Waukeeny. So look them guys up. They need fuel. Okay, I'll try to get our photos here. I just had it. No, there we went. And we'll go through our photos from last week. And some of these are from the Super Nationals. This one taken by Dirt Track Devils there. And the stock cars too. Past stock car national championships there. 9 of them.
9 of them all together,
Combined there between those two guys. So, pretty neat picture to see them too. And I always like the catwalk in the background, packed full of people too.
Yeah, yep, shoulder to shoulder.
And a good picture of the old sunset and the farming going on. The tractors going around.
All I could pull off was 4 likes on that baby.
Yeah. The tractors just aren't as exciting.
Yeah.
They just don't go as fast.
They try to pump up the tractor races every year, and every year the stand's empty out for it. So I don't know what the deal is. Need better announcers, I guess.
Yeah, that or the music they play.
Yeah. Green Acres.
You got the old rooster. Just got her laid over there on the right rear, up on the cushion. So, good picture there. And also Hank Berry up there in the BMS modified car there too, from up north. And another picture here. This one you took, Matt, here, man?
Yep, Mike Van Genderen and Jimmy Gustin battling her out.
This one may have overtook our other one. Well, earlier I think our stock car one was leading. I forgot to look how many I had again, but we'll double check that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dinsmore, you can see him just biting there. Look at that tire, wrinkling
up
the
there.
tire.
Good picture there.
Yeah.
So 3 wide. And another one Hank Berry made it into.
Yeah, he's always there.
Yep. And this is something's wrong here. I think got the wrong side up.
Yeah.
So,
Rubber's on the top. That's
Yeah.
not good.
and it's Jeremy Mills and his BMS modified that went for a spill there. And if you hadn't seen that, check out our video we got on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he ran his brother's car at the last Hawkeye Dirt Tour races, Farley, and put himself on top in the points. I think there's just a 5 or 6 point spread between him and Jay Notaboom. So BMS is sitting pretty good at getting the Hawkeye Dirt Tour
Is there another race?
championship.
I thought
These two this weekend,
this weekend,
Marshalltown.
Okay. Marshalltown's part of
yeah.
it. Okay.
So
I knew they had
love
that
to
one.
be going to that, but
Oh, okay.
the
So I
old-
think it was our stock car one I got. Nope,
Nope,
it was
35
this 5.
there,
Yeah,
so.
so I think this one gained a few here just recently because I thought I looked earlier and this one had about 25. So
yeah, that was a good
good
one
picture.
though,
Yeah.
so.
So
Well, we'll check them out
Okay.
for this week then. huh?
Yeah. Bring them up here. Thought I had. I guess Okay, there we go. Another picture by Dirt. Yeah. Hold on a second.
See if we can get it where you can see
There
it.
we go. A picture by Dirt Track Devils. Gosh, if you don't know this guy's name. do
I
you?
can't think of
that-
his name.
That car was
Part next to
was like
Nichols
that
all
most
week.
all
Yeah,
all week. Didn't matter where he was on the track, really.
yeah, she was soft.
Yeah. So yeah, they're yanked up and running pretty decent too.
Actually, yeah, he made
Yeah,
the feature
feature,
doing it,
yeah,
so
yeah.
not often that you see it work that great, especially on heavy. Sometimes
Yeah.
getting that on the slick where you can bite a little more isn't quite so bad, but
So thanks for Dirt Track Devils for sending that picture in after we
Yeah.
started the show.
I read him a little bit.
And
Pink's Photos sent this one in, and I don't know that she gave me any specifics on. I know it was 34 Raceway.
Okay.
I want to say
And do you know where
Or is it-
34 is at?
it's in Texas,
Texas.
somewhere.
Okay.
Um,
From Texas.
so, yeah. Oh no, 85 Speedway. I'm sorry, in Enos, Texas.
Enos. Okay.
Enos, Texas. Haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
It's a big place, so could be anywhere.
Yeah. It is. So, yeah. Thanks for sending that picture in there,
yep.
and everybody likes it and vote her up.
Yeah, and if you know who they are, tag them.
Yeah.
So we've got it opened up where anybody can tag anybody. So there's your Super Nationals champion there, Jeff Taylor in the 5. 3-wheeling around the bottom.
Yeah.
So another good run for Jeff. I think he's headed out to California to that 10,000 to win on the weekend of the Flatlanders. So in Salina Speedway. So he's putting on some miles.
Yeah.
Then planning on being back up this way for the Fall Nationals,
Good.
I know he said. So that's a nice photo
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Got some of kind of our more locals around here, and Jordan Grabowski and Jeremy Frenier. Both had pretty good runs at the
Definitely.
Super Nationals.
Jeremy had some bad luck, but I
Yeah,
think he
he's
still
still
probably
fast.
passed more cars than.
Yeah, he just couldn't get the break.
Yeah.
Needed it.
I was talking to Dave and Hayes, and he said the front end got bent so bad they had to torch some holes in it and move the A-arm where they could get the thing to turn. But it was ugly, but it worked and passed a bunch of cars doing it. So there's another one of him.
Yep, we got another picture of him here.
One thing I might mention too, that if you see photos of ours on our site that are cropped that way, they are sized for your cover photos on Facebook, and you're more than welcome to use those however you'd like. So they're already sized up perfect for the cover photo. But there's Jeremy Fournier, and I can't tell exactly who
No,
that
I
is on
can't
his
either.
outside there, but I think that was that qualifying heat race where they were down to the last two.
Oh, yeah. They had a
But
pretty good race between
yeah,
these
they
two.
really did.
And here's our local guy here at Salina, Corey LeGruen, in the Salina Speedway car there. So,
Yeah.
a nice looking car for the Super Nationals. So,
And Jake Durbin's nose.
yeah, yeah. Thanks to Dirt Track Devils for that one.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for pictures this week. So make sure you go to our Facebook page and like the pictures that you
That-
like.
that you want to
can-
vote for. Yeah.
Yeah, for your vote. And I mean, you can pick more than one, but kind of cancels out your vote. So we always pick the one with the most likes to be our winner. So, and if you really like it, share it with your friends so they'll vote on it too. So we definitely appreciate that. So, and we always want to thank Dirt Track Devils for sponsoring our photos contest of the week. What we got next?
Probably about time to call up old Dave, isn't it? I don't know what if we want to have him on the line for a couple of these deals or not.
Okay.
But we got to thank Extreme Motorsports for their participation in the show. They're your parts suppliers at Salina Speedway, and if you need parts or fuel, those are your guys to get a hold of. Also out of Great Bend, Kansas, you can stop in the shop there anytime, and they can hook you up with parts or fuel. And if you're looking for a modified chassis, they're working on all brands of modifieds, but they build the first class chassis, the 2011 IMCA Northern Sport Mod National Champion chassis, and getting a few more of those out and about and around. So I'm sure we'll be hearing more and more out of those guys. And of course, congratulations to Jesse on being tied for track points at Thunder Hill. Got one more race, and should be a nail biter.
Do you know who he's tied with?
I did until I said that. Now I don't. Can't think of it. I'd have to look it up.
Huh,
But
yeah, it's
that might be a race to hit.
Not Herber's,
so.
is it?
I don't think so. But
Look to the guys we had
I'm
up
not
there at
sure.
the top and see if he was up there.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
We'll figure that out later.
thanks to Extreme Motorsports for
Yep.
helping us out with the show.
Well, you're going to have to get Dave to come online because I don't see him where I can call him.
Okay. Well, in that case, we'll watch a video.
Sure. Right. Yep, and we'll do our crash of the week here. We'll go on out to RPM Speedway here. If I can get her
Engines are tuned.
lit up here. Oh, should have had this right here.
Whoa.
So is Mobile One Extended.
Thought I had this ready.
I'm on, huh?
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I guess I should be on.
There we go.
I'm trying to do too many things at once here. So let's see if we can get the volume turned down here. And this is going to be here at the start of the race. Yeah, right there.
That gets ugly.
I don't know if I actually did set this up with slow-mo or redo it. I guess I did there, so we'll watch this again here. If you watch right on the start on the inside lane there.
The 8-ball.
8-ball Marty Clark was in the second row inside, I think, and just didn't take off. I think he said jumped out of gear, and Roger Peck was there behind him and kind of wheel-hopped him and was ready for him to go, and he didn't. And it pretty much took everybody on the inside row from him on back. Someone
Yeah.
had some type of contact.
That was an interesting deal, trying to get everybody figured out where to line back
Yeah,
up,
'cause
and
pretty much they just move everybody up a row too. They don't
Right, don't
return-
crisscross them,
crisscross
which
it, so
I don't know. There probably should be some rule that
What's
when you lose so many cars, you go and a lot of places do. You know, if you lose more than a couple of cars in a row, then they go ahead and
Yeah.
crisscross them so that you know, a guy who was starting last row doesn't end up starting second or third row because
at
his-
Boone they don't do that. It don't matter
Whole
how many
row.
are lost. I've seen a whole row of all one row, and there was just the outside row, and the announcers were making fun. So I wonder if they're going to really start on the outside or they're going to move down a little bit because they're supposed to be on the outside, but there was not one guy left on the inside row.
Oh, jeez.
and you know, it was a heat race or so, but you know,
Yeah.
they lost 4 of them in the first lap on the inside row, and
Ouch.
they just started them the outside row, which that didn't make much difference on them.
Yeah.
They just went to single file pretty much instead of
Yeah.
double wild. So,
Well, it could have made a difference if
Yeah.
they'd double them up. But
well, yeah. So that'll do it for our.
yeah, it is Jeff Herbers that's
Okay.
tied
So
with
I
Jesse
thought-
Richter. So
I knew he was up there earlier in
Uh,
the year. So
yeah, and they're 20 points ahead of Tom Charles. So one of those two guys will be your track champion. Just depends on who finishes in front of who, or who outlasts who. So be a race of strategy. Race hard to be in front of the other guy, or just hope that he doesn't finish and you do.
so well, we can thank BSB Manufacturing here. Maybe we'll wait for. Dave to
Yeah, and
show
I
up.
did stop down at their shop this week and had a good conversation with Jay and the guys, and sounds like they had a good productive boon, and said, you know, you always feel like when you get done with your day of working on shocks and working with people and whatever, that you feel like there's always a group of people that you could have helped or should have helped, and you just help whoever comes to you. And you know, he said, I wish we had more hands where we could get out there and watch a race and figure out a problem for somebody that we know is running our stuff and help them get through that. But he said there's just so many things going on, you know, a guy's got to come to us and ask us for help. But anyway, they were able to help quite a few people out up there, and they'll be around, of course, at the specials. They'll be out at Hayes at the Fall Nationals. That is one thing I forgot to mention there. We're going to have a manufacturer's row out there, so if you build a product, a race car, whatever the case may be, and you'd like to have one on display, let us know, or let RPM Speedway know, Wade Porter or whoever. We get you a spot out there. As far as selling things, you know, as far as race parts and fuel, Skillet is there week in and week out, and he's the parts supplier out there. So Rob Skillet will be there, and always has a heck of a selection on board. So it's like a Snap-on tool truck for a racer. So things hanging all over the walls and ceilings, and so typically if you need it, he's got it there at the track, and we'll be able to help you out. Fast Shafts will be there. Well, hello, Mr. Super Dave Brin.
How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. We were just thanking BSB for their faithful participation in our show and waiting for you to show up.
Been here the whole time. I didn't realize what your it was Hop Up Performance.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
Yeah, we got 2 of them here too, but I got to use that one for some things, so I always use it.
It's Hop Up.
All right. Well, you are now the director of, what is it, class development?
The director of Division Development.
Division development. There we
We-
go.
We call them.
Division, class, same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what those duties are.
Well, some of my duties entail will be very similar to Tom Gutowski as far as making track visits and doing tech at a variety of events and racetracks. The two of us could cover twice as much ground, and so that already is a benefit to adding another position. And then be looking at rules and doing some research on rules, and hoping to do some training and other things. I'll be in Iowa next week for a meeting with everybody at IMCA, and then we'll get a chance to discuss some possibilities that I hope will benefit our racers and racetracks and tech people. Everybody will better understand the rules.
Hey Dave, you still got our stream going up too?
I may have. Let me see if I can mute that.
Yeah, we kind of got a
Echo.
little
Yeah.
echo.
There we go.
Okay,
All right,
that'll
much
be
better. So, are the rules for next year pretty well decided, or are you guys going to final draft those at your big meeting? Or?
Yeah, that's part of the agenda, is to look at next year's rules and to go over the definite no's. It's usually easy to get past the no's. We'll get to the possibilities, and then hopefully everybody will have some data to back up their suggestions and ideas. And Tom Gutowski does a fantastic job of assembling notes, and everything from simple questions from a single racer to notes on performance and things like that, from let's say different parts, engine types, chassis types of suspension, all that kind of stuff. Tom does a great job with that.
Certainly, and having all these different tech guys out there with their eyes open certainly doesn't hurt with that. You can keep an eye out for what's winning and what's different, huh?
That's correct. There are quite a few guys that all contribute something also. Pictures, with the advent of video and smartphones and all kinds of good stuff, I can take a picture or something, send it to my group, right after I take it, and everybody has a picture of this is good, this is bad, or whatever it is you want them to know. So the timeliness of all that really helps, and the ability to reach such a huge group of tech inspectors at over 100 IMCA racetracks is part of the benefit of being an IMCA sanctioned racetrack.
Right. There's a lot of benefits in those, but one of them, as you say, is having a set of rules that it's easy to look at the book and it's yes or it's no, and or it should be anyway. That's the intention. I like the way Mike Nichols puts it. If you go to an IMCA racetrack, you order a Big Mac, you should get a Big Mac that's the same at every racetrack. It's just like a McDonald's. Not quite be exactly that precise, but sure.
It's a good analogy. That's why you frequent fast food, and that's why chain restaurants are so popular, because of the consistency of their product. So we hope to have that same thing, and there's still resources. You can call the Tom Gutowski about any time, day or night, even on the racing weekends, and get a text message or a phone call back, and I have done that, and I'll certainly be available for that also, to ensure that the rules are applied consistently.
We see that, I think, pretty darn regular on the tech side, at least in the racetracks in our area. Maybe some are better than others, but I think rules-wise we see it pretty consistent. Where I think maybe we don't see it, and a lot of people think that there's, and maybe there is, I don't know. As far as on-track calls and procedures and that, is there a guideline or things that IMCA puts out there for racetracks, flagmen and scorers and that, as far as how they do things?
The point system and the lineup procedures are pretty consistent. I mean, we're all following the same group of lineup procedures and point system and whatnot. But as far as on-track calls, I mean, those are the racetrack. The racetrack is putting on the show. I've been asked before, and I've used this statement, I don't do, I'm not flagging this race. I'm working with cars. So,
Yeah.
but a racetrack, it depends. Not everything is a perfect fit for every area. And some people like the judgment call where they like to place the blame, and they send one guy to the back and the other guy gets the spot back. And other places are like, this is racing, and that's the luck of racing. If a guy gets into you, we'll punish that, but we're not about to give anything away. So, and I work at two tracks that have those two opposite philosophies. However, those racetracks belong to those promoters, and so they're putting on those shows, and they make those ultimate decisions of the on-track calls typically.
Right. That's always been something that I've been curious about, is just if there ever would be a movement towards putting a recommended set of procedures together, or even at the big specials and stuff. It is nice to see at least those specials conducted in such a way that a guy can come from any part of the country and get basically the same Happy Meal anywhere he goes. But
yeah, it's tough. Sometimes my fries come out good and crispy, and I like them that way, and sometimes they come out a little soggy, and I know that timer on that fry machine goes off at exactly the same time every time, but whether the guy makes it over there to get them out of the oil or not, is and how big a hurry and behind they are in orders. But those racetracks belong to those promoters, and I would say it's reasonable for them to make the calls that are appropriate for their show. There's some strange things in some places, locations, like time limits. If you're close proximity to a lot of housing, or subdivision or some other part of town, and there are racetracks in the middle of towns.
Yeah, Colby's that way.
Yeah, they have time limits and noise restrictions and other things, and they probably don't mess around with their show. Their calls are probably quick, and because they need to be in order to get all the racing in.
Yeah.
Conversely, if you've got time and space and you want to re-examine every call, or make calls or move people around, then that option is there. But like I said, it's that promoter's show.
Oh yeah, yep. And everybody that's working, I guess that's the main thing, is everybody that's working be on the same page. But one they had at Hayes this week was a guy slipped out of gear and like 5 people on the inside row get wiped out, and then we're on the horn like, well, we haven't ever had that many taken out at once. Do we crisscross them, or do we just move them straight up and you put them back in order in the back of the pack, how they came out of the pits, or how they started, or just a disaster? I mean, it looked like we'd never done it before. It probably took us 4 laps to get people lined back up once they all got back on the track. But,
yeah, if you try to write a rule book for every situation, how would that be? So
impossible.
Promoter knows what his fans want to see and what they'll tolerate, and he'll adjust that show accordingly, and I think that's fair.
Oh yeah, and in that case, it was more a question of what's going to be the easiest to keep this baby moving, because honestly, the fans aren't going to care either way. The racers in the cars will understand either way you do it. It can make sense either way, but
One of my favorite sayings is know the rules and know what you own. You need to know the rules, and you need to know what's in your car and on your car. But part of knowing the rules is if you go to another racetrack, you need to figure out what their line of procedures are. Single caution, in heats, do you go to the pits, or is it just single car caution in the heats, do you go to the pits? Things like that, and the internet and all these racetracks, websites and Facebook pages and all that. It's kind of hard to say I didn't know. It's a part of responsibility.
Yep, that's a good point, and that's probably one of the most frustrating things for me if I go. We've watched races at I don't know how many this year, 50 some tracks total, but when you're watching a show and you kind of know what's going on, you can tell when not everybody's on the same page, and you know, one corner worker may not understand the way they do things and the way they want to do it. Especially if you got a scanner and listen to the chatter, it's fun to
Yeah.
hear what goes on there.
Just have lots of chatter, don't they?
But some do. And some don't remember that some people have scanners.
Yeah. I have gotten on the radio before and said, hey, watch what you say. You know, we don't know who's mom or whoever might be listening, you know. And then some people are documenting everything you say, waiting for you to make a single mistake. And
Oh, yeah.
well, try your best. It's a little like being a racer, too. You know, I'd like to hit 20 perfect laps, but that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the only official question I have so far for you is comes from Paul on Facebook, and he wants to know, when you check safety equipment, do you look at the condition of the flapper and the fuel cell, or do you just see that it meets the minimum requirement that it's there? Also, do you look at
I
the
think-
condition of fire suits, rips, and whatnot?
Well, I think he meant kind of like, sort of like a rip in a fire suit, where you'd say, yeah, there's a rip there in that suit, so that's not longer any good anymore. That flopper valve might be kind of not working like it should.
Well, floppy.
If it's, you know.
yeah, I'm pretty critical on my tech, and maybe that's how I got to where I'm at here now with IMCA. I'm a pretty stickler with any of the safety equipment. You know, the flapper valve, the seat belts. We don't have a rule that dictates that you have to update your seat belts. It is recommended not more to be more than a year old or more than 2 years old, and how they're mounted and other things. And there's a little conflict and liability with how they're mounted, etc. You have to be careful what you tell people because it can come back on you. However, we have some minimums, and we try to keep them on a minimum. But if a guy has a ripped flapper valve, I'll have him get another one. If a guy has some seat belts in there, they stay outside, and if you expose them to the caustic soaps and things they use at car washes and other things a lot, the seat belts will get brittle and start cracking, and the webbing will start to come apart a little bit. And I'll make them get new ones, and they'll say, well, they're not very old, and they'll give me, you know, but the reality is if you want to race here and continue to race here, you're going to need seat belts.
Yeah.
So, the only way I can know that to maximize their safety potential is to have them get new ones. I don't know how much this crusty old seatbelt can hold, and I'm not going to guess. What I am going to do is make you get new seatbelts.
Yep.
It's amazing how much of a conflict that can be.
Are there other safety issues on the car that you are pretty critical about? I mean, I know that having been to your racetracks, I know that you know, you're pretty thorough with all of your tech. But I mean, are there other things that you always make sure that, you know, this is up to snuff?
The seat mounting and we updated a couple of years ago to 3/8 bolts in the seats because it was amazing what seats were bolted in. It's a little bit. Have you ever noticed a 30-gallon fuel cell bolt in, you know, with a bolt that's smaller than a 1/4 inch? And I'm like, oh, there's 30 gallons of fuel in here. Yes.
Genius.
Seats are like that too, and your entry-level guys have a tendency just to try to hook it all up to the stock floor and et cetera. And so you have to explain to them what to do and how to do it to a degree. And many times I'll go look at every other car in the pits because you're the only guy that has one of these. So you just stop at the first one. And we have a fabulous track record for safety. You know, it's not perfect. Nobody's safety record is perfect by far, but I know that I'm pretty critical. When I go somewhere, we have serious conversations, and I know Tom and most track tech are that way, and part of that liability revolves around the promoter also. The local track tech is really a track employee. He's not an IMCA employee, and he's got to be responsible to the promoter and the promoter's liability also. So his job, you know, is to ensure that everybody is as safe as possible. There's no guarantee of safety, but we certainly try to maximize every opportunity. Window nets, gloves, shoes. I remember when shoes became mandatory, people were in an uproar. You want shoes? I'm like, you got to get out of this burning disaster. You got to have hands and feet to get out. And
Yeah.
and simple things like the price of a pair of shoes versus no matter what you got on, it's cheaper than an ambulance ride. Just one time. So, yeah, I'm a big stickler for safety, and sometimes people don't take that well, but there's a moment there where you have to tell them it's either this or no racing, because that just makes sense. Not gonna be party to something that could be a tragedy.
Something that we've seen at some tracks, and I can't place any IMCA tracks that have, but some of the outlaw tracks that I'd seen had started requiring head and neck restraints and different, I don't know, what some would consider higher end safety equipment. Is that anything that you see IMCA stepping in and mandating, or you think those will stay kind of a driver's discretion type of equipment?
I think we have to look at our track record and use that as evidence for what our minimum safety requirements are. And like I said, we haven't had a huge amount of issues and incidents. We've had a few, and the Ryan Baird one is a good example of the fuel cell flapper and the stoppers. I mean, you can get a rubber flapper, but there are some fantastic looking spring-loaded fuel cell flappers out there that I would encourage everyone to buy. But the minimum, it's all risk management. You're trying to manage it. Head and neck restraints, the early head and neck restraints, didn't have any side-to-side protection in them. So the helmet can still flop pretty hard left or right. If you watched your in-cars and you've watched a guy's head bounce back and forth, that thing travels pretty far, even if he's got a neck brace on. And even in some of the head and neck restraints. Now, some newer ones, even better, do provide side-to-side, and there's a lot of options out there. But I think our history has shown that so far so good. What we're doing seems to be in the right direction.
I would agree. As far as the tech at Boone, what was the most interesting thing that you found? I mean, there's always cars that come up illegal, some of it knowingly, and some of it probably surprised the drivers. But at any rate, what was the most surprising thing to you that you found?
You get less and less surprises all the time. The first year I went, which I think was 02, might have been 01, I can't remember. Anyways, a guy had modified his, I think it was a metric frame, to put some Camaro A-frames on it for some reason. And I thought, well, that's a lot of work. He went to all that work to do that, and then, showed up. And I think the word is out, though. You very rarely see anything very trick or very exotic. The stock car carb that had the wrong boosters in it was interesting. They were long boosters, and they put the booster back behind the throttle plate. And I'm not sure, I could see not drooling the fuel all over the throttle plate, and dripping off the bottom could be an advantage, but I really don't know if that was the case. That was just my speculation. But more so, the guy didn't know why it was like that either, and it was a brand name carburetor, and back to know what you own. Got to know what you own.
Oh, yeah. Was there any no fancy electronic things or anything like that? Everybody's always on the lookout for those traction controls or delay boxes for your rev limiter and all this fancy stuff. Is any of that stuff out there, or are people just smart enough to leave it at home in Super Nationals, or what do you think?
Well, we certainly hope they're smart enough to leave it at home at Super Nationals. If you're dealing with one tech guy weekly, well, you're going to be dealing with, 8 of us at least on any given day. So that's 8 sets of eyes. And, I had to explain to somebody. I thought maybe they didn't get a fair deal. The world's not just packed full of cheaters. Not everybody's just trying to screw you out of a spot with, a cheater part or something else. For the most part, racers, the majority, we only talk about DQs because, they sometimes are a little more interesting, like you asked the question. But the reality is, if we counted the number of non-DQs and the number of legal cars consistently day after day and week after week, it'd be astronomical, the ratio compared to actual illegal cars. So,
Most certainly. That's always, and not so much at Boone, but, weekly, there's always those guys that they just struggle to get past mid-pack, and they always, oh, well, I mean, if so-and-so's winning all the time, he must be illegal. And in my early days of being a fan, I kind of maybe bought into that theory, and then started helping a few guys and learning a few more things, and realized that, especially if you have a halfway decent tech guy, he's going to make you prove. As you get better and better, and the more times you see him, you're going to prove to him and to every other racer that you're legal. But not only that, but a guy that's racing 3 and 4 tracks and winning multiple features a weekend has had so many eyes on that car that if he's cheating, he's darn good at it.
yeah. Can you hang on just a second?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've kind of always said that the top runners at the track are 99% time the legal guys, and
The most legal car.
the guys running towards the back. There's going to be maybe more 10% of them, maybe not quite legal. So, and they're the ones up front getting checked all the time. So that's the way she goes.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe while we got a little break here, we'll thank BMS
Sure.
Modifieds. We'll thank Brandon and the guys up at BMS for their participation in the show, and always glad to have them on the show. So thank you, and we'll go back to Dave.
Yeah, it's as far as the frequent tech inspection. Yeah, if you're making the top 4 a lot, sometimes people don't take that well, and they're like, "Why are you always tearing my car?" Because you're always here.
Yep.
So it's not bad. I tell them, if you see me a lot, you're doing well.
That's right.
So
Oh, yeah.
bad. It's yeah. I hope to contribute something to educating tech guys. Reach out farther and get more one-on-one time with those guys to not only just tech, but dealing with racers and personalities and your track promoter and other people. There's a lot to it beyond just knowing something about a car.
Right.
Are you guys offering any type of classes or something for tech guys, or especially like new guys, or you just kind of give them out newsletters and that type of things to check for, or is there actual stuff training they're doing for them too, or not?
There's some tech tips newsletter that Tom Gutowski sends out pretty regularly with the stuff that you find or whatever might be the issue of the moment. And then hoping to, I have some ideas, and I don't want to throw it all out there because I'll have to get for that. But
Yep.
certainly IMCA and Brett have been very good at using the internet and social media to get our word out there and to get information out there, and I couldn't see why we couldn't use that to open that. There's some easy things, like I could show you how to tech a carburetor in a 2-minute video,
Right.
and not only could tech people watch it, but racers could watch it. If the guy that had the carb with the long boosters on it knew they were long, he probably could have probably would have done something to it, but to just look in there, it didn't look like much to him until showed him another one. It was the only carb he had, the only one he'd been looking at, so he really didn't know.
And he may not even have noticed the difference, even, depending on how obvious it is. He may not even notice the difference from a
That's right.
video,
And
but at least you've got something to go on there. It is always kind of disheartening to see a guy who struggled and worked his butt off to make the top 4, and then he gets there and finds something that he legitimately didn't know what he had was bad. He bought it as a good part, but and obviously that's his own responsibility to come to you and say, hey, I want more of a pre-tech than just the safety stuff. I want you to look this thing over and make sure that when I get there, it's and you can't tech every car, but sure disheartening to that guy to kick
It's,
and fight and scream and struggle to get there and then get DQ'd. But
that happens around Super Nationals time. week 2 or 3 before Super Nationals, people will come up to me and ask me to look at their car. Can you look at my car for Super Nationals? And maybe I don't see their car every week. Maybe they don't make the top 4 a lot. And so they really want me to look at it and to make sure that they don't have, if they do have something to fix, they can get it fixed in their own shop. And then, to avoid any conflict at what is the biggest race in America, 872 race cars, I challenge anyone.
Yeah.
to do that.
Certainly is the biggest event on dirt, probably in the world, I'm sure. But certainly worth the trip.
Yeah.
What do you have for advice for? I hear racers and even some tech guys around. Maybe not complain, but say, well, this or that rule isn't a performance advantage, and so either that tech guy doesn't want to be nitpicky and he doesn't enforce it, or his promoter doesn't want him to enforce it. He doesn't want it to be I don't know, thinking it's going to drive cars away, or whatever the case may be. What kind of words of advice do you have for him on that?
This is my simple statement: know the rules and know what you own. Don't try to assess a value to something. Take the rules literally. Those are the rules. I try to pick up something from everybody I've worked with who's been the competition director so far, and Bob Ross had a good statement when I started, which was, if it makes her lighter or faster, it's probably illegal. Tom Herbert said, we have felonies and misdemeanors. Not everything requires a disqualification. And Tom Herbert had a big hand in arranging the rule book with the penalties assigned to the rules, which is what every track tech is using now. So there's a 1, 2, and 3 in there, a DQ last place points, DQ no points, and a fix-it slip or deficiency slip. And so he did a good job with that, and I'm still learning from Tom Gutowski. So I'll let you know after he's gone someday what I got the most from him. But very much enjoyed working with all those guys, and they are available to everyone, racers and tech people. And you know what? That's what you pay for. Don't be afraid to wear them out.
Certainly. That's always been my answer to those guys is, why spend your money to be sanctioned if you're, what part of what you're buying being sanctioned is a rule book that's not my fault. It's IMCA's fault. It's in the print right there. You had it when you built the car, and so it's pretty simple to say, sorry, it's illegal.
So you need to take the rules literally. When it says this, it means this, not this. Don't read what it doesn't say. Read what it does say.
Right.
And our availability at IMCA it's unmatched by far. And so you really have no reason. I had a same guy call me 3 times today. And so he wants to come up for the spring fling, and he's got a jet stock car that should be IMCA legal, but he had questions on his engine and whatnot versus what carburetor could run. Called me 3 times, but if he buys a license and comes up and races, he'll get the race this weekend, and like you guys said, he'll get the race all next year on that license. So
Yeah, we were gonna.
that was a
ask you,
question we had, so I
so-
guess you heard that.
yeah, typically after Super Nationals, we're in the last couple of weeks of the year. If you buy a license, IMCA typically will honor your license through the next season.
Okay, so there is no temporary or one weekend pass type license, though. A guy's got to buy a year's license.
Yeah, in years past, I don't know how far back, but they used to sell temporary licenses or one-day licenses, and I think at one time it might have been $30 or something like that. But I never bought one, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I know they existed, and that got people in the door and whatever. But I think Brett probably feels like we're in a place where we don't have to do that anymore. Racers are asking us for commitment all the time, and we're asking that same commitment back. You buy a license from us. There are benefits, that I hope you never have to use on the insurance side, and then your opportunity revolves around those benefits and the enforcement of the rules and consistent rules to promote parity. And so, if you want to race with us, buy a license, and we'll take care of you. That's part of what you're buying.
Certainly. Well, what specials are you planning to hit up? Not to, I don't know. Hopefully, we don't have to be warning the racers where you're going to show up, because they should be making sure they're legal one way or the other. But
Yeah.
you have a list of the year-end specials that you're gonna hit and help support those tech guys. Or
Yeah, I don't call it a warning. Let's call it opportunity.
there you go.
Opportunity for me to work with you is, I have this Friday and Saturday are my last weekly shows with Salina and Thunder Hill. And so those point championships will be decided this weekend. And then the following weekend, I'll be at the Spring Fling at Salina. And I think Tom Gutowski's going to the Flatlander in Goodland. And then I'll be at Beatrice the week after that. And then, goodness sakes, what is after that? I'm going to Boyd, Texas the Saturday after that. They have a one-day special down there. I think it's $2,000 to win. And then
Yeah.
I'll stay in Texas, and I'll hit the Southern Sportmont Nationals and the Southern Challenge at Abilene Speedway Thursday, Friday, Saturday after that. So
Then you plan on making it out to Vegas too?
and then I'll be going to Vegas. In fact, I was looking at tickets today. I just had to decide what dates we're staying.
Yeah.
I'll be going to Vegas. I think that's the end of it as far as racing goes.
Yeah. You're doing Thunder on the Hill or no?
Oh, that's right,
Be there
Thunder.
for that. That'll be the
Yeah,
last kabang around here, as long as it's not snowing yet.
yeah. Pam will be on me for not saying that first. But
Uh,
yeah, Thunder on the Hill. You know, Thunder on the Hill is. Did you make mention earlier? Not only was it a good race, but it was a good party, wasn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
I know last year was great. All my Thunder on the Hills have been great. They've had fantastic turnouts, and the quality of racers are out of this world. And the finishes have been outstanding. And I remember going. I think last year on Friday I went to bed at 5 o'clock Friday morning. So I'm not a big partier or anything, but I was awake for a long time that day. I can tell you that. So, it is a good time on top of being good races, and it's had quite the following, and it existed before Pam and Mike took the racetrack. It's just we've brought IMCA to that, and I think real opportunity for racers to win that deal. It's not just a who can spend the most money deal.
Yeah. Trimmed
Yeah.
out a few classes and
You
got it
betcha.
down to the.
But we have an awesomely timely show at Thunder Hill. If you've been there anytime this year, we can hit 10:30 on the money real regularly, and that's a good time. Even if you have to drive a little ways, you still get home a good time.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. I hope there's more and more promoters realizing that that's important to some, and if it's important to some, that's a percentage of your customer base that you may or may not get if you don't respect that. And I think I told you at one point during the season earlier that we made the trip up to one of Joe's tracks, Mason City in Algona in Iowa, and that's got to be one of the fastest shows known to man in Algona. Saturday night we were done by 9:15, 9:30, somewhere in there, with 6 classes. And I went and congratulated the flagman, and he thought I was being funny. And then I congratulated the promoter, and he said, well, these guys know that I'll be ripping some tail if they don't do it that way. But he says, he said, my experience is the faster I can get them over here in the pits and hanging out with the racers that they came to watch race, the happier my fans are. And I said, well, how in the heck do you sell enough hot dogs doing that? And he said, we do fine, and we sell hot dogs for a couple hours after the races, and along with beer in the pits. And it's like, man, that's a setup there.
I think that what prompted Mike and Pam, even besides the fact that you just need a timely show, because that makes sense, was our races are over in good times. Our grandstands will file into our pits.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You could double the number of vehicles in the pits easily after the races at Thunder Hill. And they are on opposite sides of the racetrack, so you typically, if you came to watch somebody, you don't get to see that person one-on-one. Like in Salina, we're side by side, and you can get between the pits and the grandstands, so you may see the person you wanted to see.
Yeah,
But-
you can yell through the fence at them.
Or some of the guys come up into
Yeah.
the grandstands too.
Yeah. So at Thunder Hill, our pits fill up with people, and it's quite the party. Sometimes I sneak up there and put the music back on, and to promote them to stick around a little longer. But I'm pretty happy with that. It's one of my other favorite sayings is it's supposed to be fun,
Yeah.
and you can't. It's supposed to be fun for everybody. And I know Chuck. When I worked for Chuck, we used to say when it's no fun for us, and we're the hardcore guys, we know it's no fun for anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
We
just
don't
stick-
have to name any names, but we've been to some of those shows this year too. So.
Yeah.
But
Well.
anyway, it's getting late, and we've
Yeah.
filled up another show, and we could go on all night about
Yeah.
So,
racetracks and racing and all that stuff. But we look forward to seeing you around the state next year and doing your thing, and looking forward to seeing the new rule book, I guess.
so.
Appreciate you taking time out of your evening to be with us.
You bet. It's totally my pleasure, guys.
I'm sure they don't pay you enough to do all that.
I can't talk about what they pay me, but I can tell you what the expectation is. I think it came down to all day, every day, and the difference is I was doing it all day, every day, anyways.
Yeah.
So now it's my real job, not
Yeah,
just.
now you get a little compensation for it instead of
Yeah, pretty happy
just
with that.
being fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, thanks again, and we'll talk to you later, Dave.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right. Dave Brin, also known as Super Dave, takes position with IMCA, and we've been trying to get him on, and things have just been super backed up for him, trying to get ready for the Super Nationals. And so, always good to talk to Dave. We can talk for hours and hours. So, if you had questions that we didn't get answered, certainly email those to us or comment them there on that Facebook page, and we can get with Dave and get them answered
Yep.
for you. So that's not a problem. Like to thank you all for joining us, and you had anything else on the?
Nah, I
Agenda?
forgot to look at our picks for
Yeah.
last week, and I don't even know about this week, so
Yeah.
we'll just we'll skip a week here, and we'll just wrap her up for a show. And we want to thank all our sponsors again for helping us put this show on every week. We can bring to you guys. So we want to thank Engine Quest, Extreme Motorsports, BMS Modifieds, VP Racing Fuels, BSB Manufacturing, and the Contour line of cameras. So well, that'll do it for this edition of Dirt Track Central. I'm Justin Hopp.
And I'm Matt Kovacic. We'll see you at the track.